Hola. This is the first video I am making with my new camera. It is still kind of rough because I don't have the microphone fully operating, but I have got the camera itself finally operating. To be fair, the instructions sucked. And I'm doing it in a different part of my apartment because the lighting sucks too much for the camera and all the other areas, so this is the best region to do it, at least this time. Since this is still kind of a, like half-finished production quality video, I decided to do this one on a video series that I'm winding down that I would like to just quickly make a video on, and that's on the book Atheism Kills by Barak Lurie. I don't know if it's been super popular with some of the people who watched it, though I know some do watch it and some do like it, so I apologize if that disappoints anyone. And for those who don't know, Atheism Kills is basically just the case made by Barak that atheism is responsible for many of the deaths that were caused by communists, Nazis, and other bad people throughout history. And, it's something that I thought was worth addressing because it's not the first time I've heard that argument. And I thought, with Barak Lurie being a Harvard lawyer, this would be a good chance to go in depth and test my knowledge of historical philosophy and really, push back against some of the arguments that he makes in this that are, I think, incredibly convoluted. However, when I actually read the book, I found out that they are actually very poorly made. I mean, they are really, they're really poorly thought out, and they're just flat out hate speech, to be honest with you. I mean, it's worth delving into something like my history book from high school, which makes a very strong Christian biased case for a conservative view of history. However, it at least tries to go, not so far as to saying that every ill that was caused by anyone who wasn't very religious in history was an atheist's fault. Unfortunately, though, in Barak Lurie's book, because, he does that exact thing. He'll literally just attribute any terrible thing done, like the communists with Stalin or Mao Zedong, and say that it was directly because of atheism, because they were atheists. And he'll go so far then as to do things that I haven't seen any Christian really say or do before, and try to say that Nazism and fascism were caused by atheism. I've never heard that before in my life, even from my conservative religious background that tried to make the case that Hitler was an atheist. He goes even the next step further, and he tries to make the case that Christianity had nothing to do with Nazism, which of course it did. It was the predominant religion of Nazism and fascism. There were concordats between the Roman Catholic Church and both the Nazi and fascist parties. Hitler was a Christian. Mussolini was debatable, but he may have been an atheist, but he was an atheist who supported the Catholic Church. So it's really ridiculous to try to, even think about that. But, as for attributing communism and its faults to atheism, I've read the Communist Manifesto, I've studied Joseph Stalin very closely, and most of what they did had very little to do with atheism or Christianity, either one. Most of the Soviet Union did not immediately convert to atheism under his rule, and it was because that was not the central tenet that they were pushing. So I won't go into all that now, though, but that's just, I was really disappointed, to be honest, with the case that Barak made in his book on this, because it was not in-depth. And he basically would just make an argument or two, saying one or two statements by Hitler or Stalin, and then he would go into a long list of all of their faults, saying, well, now see, this is directly because of their atheist views. Stuff like that, I'm sorry, but that's just not worth addressing, you should at least, if you're going to make an absurd statement, make a good case for it. And, a few other examples, just to show you why this book was so inherently absurd. He doesn't even make sense of some of the things he's trying to say in the book. Like, he'll try to say that the U.S. decline is because of the decline of Christianity. And, the U.S. decline as a global superpower, that is. However, for a number of reasons that's not true, all of which I'm not going to go into here. But then he'll go to the other end and talk about how China is rising and gaining on us because of, I guess, their cultural superiority. But part of China's culture currently is secularism. It is specifically an atheist state. And, when he's talking about China's ascent, he talks about its, increase in its culture, its cultural stability, its increase in its nationalism, and as if it's a good thing, you know. Just like he even gives compliments to Putin throughout the book about how Putin is restoring Christianity in Russia and making it strong again. I mean, is he really going to compliment Vladimir Putin? I mean, these are just things that I don't even really know what to say to because they're just too absurd. And just the one final kind of funny example he makes, you know, because I was watching Gladiator recently, is he tries to even say, like, the decline of the Roman Empire was due to atheism, you know, because of its lack of morality and its decline of its culture. Therefore, the Roman Empire collapsed because of atheism. And yes, he literally does say that, not directly, but he implies in the book going into how empires collapse because of their religion going away within the empire. But anyone who knows anything about history knows that the Roman Empire was at its height pagan religion, and it was, I even say, moderately secular even at the time, given the nature of those religions. And at the time of its fall and decline, the Roman Empire was predominantly Christian. And most historians would say, if anything, Christianity contributed, though it probably wasn't the main cause of its collapse. So it's not even worth going any further into that, you know, or the rest of this book. I mean, I don't want to waste your time or mine, you know, with just talking about hate speech. I am deeply disappointed that Dennis Prager and Ben Shapiro, who are supposed to be heavy hitters for the religious right, would ever endorse something as foolish as this book. You know, it's, you know, not even really worth atheists or Christians' time in reading, so I'm going to save you the trouble and just say don't really waste your time with it unless you just really are hardcore atheists and you just really want to, you know, toughen yourself up for enduring the worst of Christian bigotry. But, you know, other than that, I don't know really what else to say about this, other than that I guess that is, of course, the last video I'll be making on this. And I will be making my next video probably on incels, though I'm not totally sure yet. Hopefully the microphone will be up by then. So other than that, just thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.